Okay, here we go today. Thank you for coming to today's show of Charitable Secrets. Today is Tuesday, and that means it's Charitable Tuesday, and we want to go ahead and continue our series on split interest gifting, lifetime income while still giving to charity, and increasing some awesome investments that you can actually give to charity and also give you income for the rest of your life. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and go over that in detail. But before we do, be sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe stuff and hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time that we go live. If you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, be sure to give us a comment. Be sure to ask questions. What we're going to be going over today is a little bit technical, but I think it's going to be something that can actually build a lasting legacy and help with generations to come, and also give you some amazing tax benefits. So let's go ahead and get started with today's episode of Charitable Secrets. Okay, so for the last few weeks, we have been talking a little bit about split interest gifting. And what is a split interest gift? Well, a split interest gift, when you give to charity, is something that is not completely charitable because you have a vested interest in the donation as well. So instead of getting a full deduction, like a full tax deduction like you would with a donor advised fund or a public charity, a split interest gift is actually where you get a partial deduction because it actually pays you out over either a term of years or for your lifetime or the lifetime of certain beneficiaries. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Let me just go ahead and look at my notes here. Okay, so what is a charitable remainder trust? It's an irrevocable trust that generates a potential income stream for you as the donor of the CRT and or other beneficiaries such as children, maybe even another donor advice fund, family foundation, things like that. Once that term of years is over or the last beneficiary dies, the remainder of the asset now then goes to charity. And I've actually developed this amazing drawing right here that you guys can actually take a look at. I know you guys are amazed on how simple it is, and I know you guys are going to enjoy this. And so we can make it a little bit bigger. But let's go ahead and talk. There's a lot of different types of charitable remainder trusts out there. There's charitable remainder annuity trusts, which are known as CRUTs. There's also charitable remainder annuity trust, but today we're basically just going to be focusing on the unit trust part. We'll cover the annuity trust. They're just a little bit different in what you do, how they work, how often you can give to them, all that kind of stuff. So today we're going to be talking mainly about charitable remainder unit trust, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's go ahead and talk about how they work. Excuse me. So a charitable remainder trust being a split interest gift, you as the donor here give an asset to the trust, and because this is a charitable trust, you actually get a partial tax deduction. I hope I spelled all of that correctly. Okay, but what kind of things can you give to a charitable trust? Right, you can give cash, of course. Right here, let's actually write this down here. You can give cash. You can give real estate. Okay. And a lot of times, like with Legacy Global, just the equity, you don't want to have, charities don't like to have debt. It creates UBIT, which is unrelated business tax. And so it's not advantageous to take real estate that has mortgages or anything like that. So we want to make sure that you can actually donate the equity and pay off the debt at the sale of the asset as well. That it gets a little bit more complicated, but that's something that can happen. What else can you give? You can also give stock. Okay, not S corp stock, but stock. Let's see, what else can we give? Publicly traded securities, other complicated assets, complex assets. right? So you can give pretty much almost anything to the trust. Then what happens is that the trust will usually liquidate that, right, and make it money, and then they go in to invest it. And then typically at that point, the investment will grow over time. And as it's growing, with Legacy Global, you actually can have your professional advisor team actually oversee those investments so that you can make sure that you trust your advisor, and we become a client of that advisor so that they can keep it under their portfolio, and it works really great. So once let's go ahead and get rid of all this stuff here so we can clean this up. Okay. Writing that down. Okay, making sure it's going away. There we go. That's fun. Okay, so the investments start to grow, right? And you can set up in the Charitable Remainder Trust how often that payout comes out. So you get a partial deduction immediately. Then it starts to give you income. And this can be yearly. It can pay out. It can be semi-annual. Semi-annual. I don't know if that I is dotting. Okay. It can be quarterly, or it can be monthly. Okay. And that income actually can flow back to you as the donor, but there is income tax. So there is a tax there, right? But you're actually avoiding capital gains tax when you do this part right here, right? You're avoiding capital gains or minimizing capital gains. And then when the income comes in, you pay income tax on that. Now, unless one of these beneficiaries here is like a donor advice fund or something like that, maybe you decide that, hey, I don't really need this income right now, but I do need a deduction, so I can go ahead and donate it again to a donor advice fund. Well, then you get a tax deduction for the amount that the income came in, which is a great strategy, especially if you're doing really well in your business or you're just having a great income that you just really don't need. That works out great. So now once maybe you pass away, or maybe the term of years, a term of years is like 20 years that you can have this pay over on the term, or you can have it go for a lifetime. So when we determine the tax deduction, we actually run a calculation. The IRS has its rules and its rates and all that kind of stuff. So we can run those illustrations for you for free, but we can determine, what determines that is, the IRS goes, okay, if you are, 53 and you're a male and this is your birth date, you have a life expectancy of X, and they take that into consideration for how much of a deduction that you can actually receive. Okay. And so basically you can do a term of years or lifetime. Okay. So once the last beneficiary, so if I have like all three of my kids, let's say I have 3 kids here, right? The last beneficiary passes away, and now whatever is left in the Charitable Remainder Trust will then now go to charity. And it can go to just one charity, or you can have it split up and go into multiple charities, right? And so this is also beneficial because now you can determine before you pass away or before the term of years is up which kind of charities or which charitable missions that you actually want to support. And the Charitable Remainder Trust is great that way. What's great about a Charitable Remainder Unit Trust is that you can keep donating certain assets in there. With a Charitable Remainder Annuity Trust, it's kind of like a one and done kind of thing where, if I donate, real estate into a Charitable Remainder Annuity Trust, it's pretty much done. I can't add anything else in there because that's a fixed amount of income that's coming in, whereas a Charitable Remainder Unit Trust is a variable rate. So I can choose to get 5% back on the principal or on the investment that comes from the Charitable Remainder Trust. So I hope that helps there. Let's see, what are some of the benefits? We talked a little bit about some of the benefits of that. You get a partial deduction right away, which is great. You get income at a more favorable tax, income tax rather than capital gains tax. What's also really good about legacy in particular is that the investment of the charitable remainder trust actually goes to the investment advisor. And we do that because investment advisors typically have a pretty good relationship with the family. It's someone that they know and they trust. They oversee other investments. And so legacy now becomes a client of that advisor for whatever is funded in the charitable remainder trust. And the donor still can determine, what those investments are and what they donate or what they invest in. We've had people invest in stock markets. They've invested in real estate, and they determine what that is, the donor does. And then the investment advisor actually goes over that with them and with us. As long as it's legal and ethical, we typically do that. And if there's something that the original donor wants to do that is not legal and ethical, then we can advise on things that are more legal and ethical. So of course, now if you guys have any kind of questions, be sure to leave those comments in, and I'll do my best to answer those. So is a charitable remainder trust really right for you? And that's a really good question, because it's not right for everybody. And so you want to talk it over with your professional advisors, talk it over with your attorneys and your tax professionals to see if a charitable remainder trust is right for your situation. And not everybody is actually very well versed in charitable remainder trusts or charitable giving, charitable planning. And that's where we come in. We can be on a conference call with your advisory team and you to kind of go over the benefits, go over your particular situation in detail, run those illustrations to kind of see exactly what that would look like. So if you guys are looking to see if this would be the right fit for you, you guys can go to legacyglobal.org/Mike. You can actually talk with me directly, and I can be able to discuss that with your advisors and with you as well. If you liked what we talked about here today, let's see, we're going up on 12 and a half minutes of our live stream today, talking about charitable remainder trusts, seeing how they can be advantageous to you and your situation, how you can get a lifetime income, and also give the remainder to charity. Now, there are other split interest gifts. There's other strategies: charitable remainder annuity trust, charitable lead trusts, charitable lead annuity trust. We're going to be talking about all that kind of stuff. We did an overview of all these things in our last episode. And so if you want to check that out, I'll go ahead and leave a link for that in the notes below on our YouTube channel. And you can check that out here at mikeglover.co/YouTube, or of course, legacyglobal.org/YouTube. And if you have any questions on that, definitely feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. We do our best to answer those as fast as we can. And next week, we're going to be talking about annuities, charitable annuity trusts, and maybe we'll even go over charitable gift annuities as well, since they're very different. But talking about annuities is always just so exciting, right? I know you guys are really excited for that. So we'll go ahead and leave that here for today. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and we will talk again soon. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll talk later.